A 37-year-old woman was shot and killed in Minneapolis today by an ICE agent after she attempted to run him over with his car. Well, the idea that she attempted to run him over is debated among people's reactions on the internet. Of course, it's being split amongst the two parties, the left and right, over whether she intentionally tried to run over this ICE agent and he shot her in self-defense, or whether she was just trying to get away and this was an abuse of power by the agent. We'll watch the video here in a second, but the claims are we don't have video of before the actual shooting itself. Like I said, we're about to play it, but it seems like people are saying like she was blocking the ICE agents from performing their duties. Of course, Trump has sent in an increased number of ICE agents into Minnesota, or I don't know if it's Trump or Kristi Noem, whoever directs the ICE agents where to go. There's been an influx of them in Minnesota in the past month, and of course, it seems like they were cracking down, especially this week with the news over fraud in Minnesota by Somali immigrants. It seems like they're ramping up, ICE is ramping up operations in Minnesota. And so it seems like that's why they were there. And the claim is that this lady here, you can see this car, the Honda Pilot, was blocking ICE agents. And so I'll just let the video play and you guys can see for yourself what you think. Sorry, gotta get my audio here. Okay, so this is a nice truck. They step, well, I'll let it play. And the ICE agent shoots her, and
what the fuck did you do?
Presumably she's dead at this point because she drives off and hits a pole. Now, I have to say, first of all, whether this was justified or not, the rhetoric on the left has been increasingly to fight back, to commit assaults basically on these agents. You'll think back to the Omaha, Nebraska meat plant raid. And if you look at videos of that, these people are throwing rocks at agents, at their cars, and there was no repercussion for these people, right? They just run away as soon as the ICE agents jump out of their car, and as soon as they get back in the car, they come back and they keep throwing stuff. So, and of course, and you'll see this lady, the lady recording, she's still yelling and screaming at them. So it's not, the rhetoric isn't true that these people are violent, because that's what's going to happen from this video, regardless of whether it's justified or not. People are going to say, oh, ICE agents are using, increased threats, and they're going to try to use this to justify civilians attacking ICE agents more than they already do, which they, like I said, they already do it anyway. So, like I said, that's regardless of whether this is justified or not. This is the fault of left-wing politicians saying, oh, we have to defend our communities, with language like coded language like that. Like, what does that mean, defend our communities? Well, it sounds like you're saying use violent force, or do whatever you can to stop. And these people aren't, it's not like these people are scared of ICE agents. Like I said, this lady's in here screaming and yelling at them. She's like, don't let, at some point, she's like, don't let the murderer get away. I don't play the rest of the video. You can find it for yourself. There's not much to say. It's just her yelling at them while they're like moving around or whatever. And she's like, don't let the murderer get away. Like, she's not scared of them, all right? She's interacting with, if you were scared of a person, you would run away, obviously, from the crime scene, if you think that's what it is. So we'll play the video again, and I'll cover it. So the ICE agent tries to open her door. She backs up. Now, people are saying that she was just trying to get away. Now, that might be true. Although, if she was just trying to get away, why did she reverse? Why didn't she just pull out this way or pull out the other way, to the left or the right? Either way, it seems like she has ample space to do so. Now, I know women don't know how to drive, so maybe that might be a factor here. But you'll see the ICE agent kind of comes into her vision here. And I would think at this point, she's done reversing. And she should see him he is in front of the car at this point. And when it seems that when she sees him, she hits the gas to try and get away, but he's there. Obviously, she's going to hit him. And so that would be the ICE agent's justification for using violent force. Of course, she basically assaulted him with with a deadly weapon, I guess is what you could refer to the car as. I mean, it's a 2-ton vehicle or something, however many tons it is. No, I don't want to look it up. I was going to look it up. But obviously, that would injure him if, he got ran over by her. So he pulls out his gun, and I think, look, she's already pulling forward by the time he pulls out his gun. I think she ramps it up as soon as she sees it. And here, it's hard to see, but we have another angle of the video in a second. But she hits him with his car. He's knocked back. And then he fires his shots.
Oh my fucking god!
And then this lady's screaming and yelling.
Fuck? What the fuck? You just
But look, whether this is justified or not, I think honestly the fuck around and find out phrase is very apt here. Look, don't mess with federal agents while they're doing their investigations, all right? They're not attacking your communities. They're not doing something outside of the bounds of the law, okay? They're deporting people who are here illegally. Like, why is that? And if you interfere with that, you should face some type of repercussion. I don't see why that's such a, but obviously why that is such a crazy idea. But obviously these people have no fear of these agents because they've been told by politicians, do whatever you can, like get in their way, interfere. And the agents almost never do anything, right? And so they have no fear. And you'll see with the protests here in a second how people are blatant disobedience, just blatant disregard for the law, for the uniform means nothing nowadays. No respect to officers. So this is the same incident. And this is where's the pilot? I think it's this one. Oh no, sorry, I started the video a little late. Okay. Here it is. Okay, so these are the two agents right here. I know it's hard to see. But this is, they're behind this truck. This is the Honda Pilot back here. And you'll see how the agent gets hit, knocked back by the car. Now he kind of leans on it a little bit. He kind of puts his hand on it. But he is hit by it. You'll see here. Boom. She makes contact with him. And almost simultaneously he fires his shots. And then she goes on and grabs into other vehicles, presumably because she's dead at that point, I would assume. Or obviously just injured. Now, a big part of this is whether it was made in self-defense, because if people are saying, oh, he was on the side of the vehicle, he wouldn't have gotten hit anyways because her wheels were turned to the right. She was trying to get away. Now, obviously, if that's true and he wouldn't have got hit anyway, then he wouldn't have been at threat. Now, he still had the right to feel threatened. I mean, the vehicle was going in his direction. He didn't know if he was going to get hit or not. He couldn't see the wheels, which way they were turning, if they were going straight at him or if she was turning away. So in that second, he made the decision to shoot, with the idea that he was being threatened. Now, a big part of this story that signifies that this was self-defense was the fact that he was actually in front of the vehicle when it was moving at him, as evidenced by the bullet hole in the windshield. Now, obviously, if it was off to the side, he would have shot through the side window, the passenger window, I guess the driver's side window, sorry. But because it was in the windshield, obviously you have to be in front of it somehow to shoot. Obviously he couldn't have hit her if he was standing off to the side here through the windshield. And so he must have been like around here at the headlight, to shoot her through here. So to be able to hit her, right? The angle from her sitting in the seat to the gun had to have been straight, right? And so it would have had to have been in front of the vehicle for that to happen. And so I think that makes it a case for self-defense, as Eric Doherty, don't know who this is, as he says here, they claimed the ICE agent shot the terrorist from the driver window, the bullet holes in the windshield, even more proof this was fully self-defense and he was about to get killed. Now, I don't know, that language is a little bit exaggerated. Like, okay, I don't think he was about to get killed by a car running him over. But he would have been seriously injured, obviously. And the bullet going through the windshield is good evidence of that. Now, a lot of the left-wing people are saying this is a trigger-happy agent, and I can see that, actually. I don't want to sound like a woke retard here, but I could see that. I mean, he was getting out of the way. Now, mind you, like I said, there was no way of him knowing that she was turning away from him. How was he supposed to know that she wasn't turning at him, right? He just saw the car moving forward and shot and tried to get out of the way. Now, it just so happens that she drove off to the right. But if she had been driving straight, or let's say she went to the left.
No!
At this point, the wheels don't look turned on the front. It's hard to see. But he didn't know which way she was going. Maybe she was going to turn to the left and hit him directly. So, yeah, he's going to try to move out of the way of the vehicle. Now, here it seems obvious. Yeah, at this point, the car's moving to the right, which is when he fires his shots. Now, you could make the case here that he could have just gotten out of the way, but he was still in front of the car at that point. So, I don't know. The fact that he was trigger happy, I could see that, like I said. But anyway, I don't care, to be honest. It doesn't, like I said, I don't really care if it's justified or not at this point. The fact that people treat federal agents with a lack of respect is Well, I'm like, yeah, fuck them. Yeah, like I said, like the phrase says, fuck around, find out. You know, if you interfere with these investigations, you should face some type of repercussion. And in this case, she got shot and killed. I mean, now actually, I don't know how she ended up here. That's what I would like to know. Like, what was the interference looking like? As you can see, Trisha McLaughlin. I don't know how to pronounce that. I think she's a politician. What is she? Assistant Secretary, Department of Homeland Security. She said today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public fired defensive shots. He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. The perpetrator was hit and is deceased, and ICE officers are expected to make full recoveries. Now, this second portion, this second half of her tweet is exactly why I feel no sympathy for this person who died, and why I feel like it doesn't even matter if it was justified or not. This is a direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement. These men and women who are simply enforcing the law on the books are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation, and we will give the public more information as soon as it becomes available. This person says stop lying, put some slowed down video. Anyways, so this is an example of one of the left-wing reactions. The best video evidence right now, unless something else comes out, a trigger-happy Fed just executed an American citizen and the Trump admin wants to cover it up. If you think it's partisan to demand transparency and accountability, okay, well, this is nothing interesting here. Other than him saying executed an American citizen. He didn't execute an American citizen, okay? Even if he was mistaken, he still thought that there was a threat on his life. And he reacted accordingly. Now, this is a result of... This happened this morning. This shooting happened this morning. I don't want to say time, but I do know it happened in the morning. And this is what's happening more recently. There are riots in Minneapolis. And as you can see, these people have no fear for authority. Don't believe these people that say, oh, we're scared for our life. ICE agents are out here threatening us. They're not. They're not fucking scared. Why? This is evidence.
As
people just straight up assaulting officers.
I believe it was a state patrol, and we did see some MPD officers who were leaving that scene.
Yeah, I think these are just police at this point. ICE agents left soon after the shooting.
Have not been on that scene, but it looks like as officers are leaving the scene, just having some protesters or bystanders, agitators.
Protesters basically running them out.
At them as they leave. We saw this earlier.
We did. Well. Yep, we saw this exact thing earlier, and this was targeted toward ICE agents at that particular time. But now, as you mentioned, this is MPD, BCA was on scene, the sheriff's department.
So this is what's going to happen. Basically, leftists are going to use this as an excuse to attack federal agents and police and anybody else, because they're going to say, "Oh, look, they're killing us. They're using violence against us, so we have to use equal force back against them." And so this is just going to be. I mean, this is Minneapolis, mind you, where the George Floyd riots happened. This is going to be another excuse to increase political violence on the left side, mind you, right? Because it's never civilians doing political, well, I don't know, I guess the January 6th thing you could say was kind of violence from the right, but most people there were just protesting. They were just marching, as Trump said, to march to the Capitol to make their voices heard, not throwing stuff at federal agents like these people are. Now, sure, there was some violent people in the January 6th riots, okay, fine, but I think this is, like I said, this is going to be used as an excuse to attack agents, and you're going to see here with Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, this type of language is what's going to cause people to go and do crazy things and attack agents. Let's hear what he has to say.
Get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
Get the fuck out of Minneapolis.
We do not want you here.
That's what I hear when I hear Jacob Frey. I can't take him seriously after. So I have this video up. I have this ready, mind you. I can't take him seriously after his videos of him dancing, like with the Somali people. Like, let me see if we can hear this one. Look at this, bro. Just so performative, like so fake and like cringe. Like, bro, we get it. You're trying to cater to your fucking voter block. It's just so weird. But after this, you can't take this guy seriously with anything. Like, he's just straight up hollow. Like, he just does whatever his voter block wants him to do, identifies with whatever culture it is that will vote for him. He doesn't stand for anything. He doesn't believe in anything. He's just there to get some votes. You know what I mean? So this looks even more performative to me. He's not actually angered. He's just saying what he thinks people want him to say.
Stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Yes, the goal of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency is to create safety by protecting our borders and getting illegal foreign nationals out of the country. What's so hard to understand about that? And sure, some of them are in your state, in your city.
There's a lot of information that is swirling around right now, and we collectively are going to do everything possible to get to the bottom of this, to get justice, and to make sure that there is an investigation that is conducted in full. But what we do know is that a 37-year-old woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE.
Okay, those are facts.
We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis.
We dreaded these moments because, I mean, if she hadn't interfered with ICE, she would still be here, right? I mean, I don't know to what extent she interfered, but just stay out of their way. Let them do their thing. Don't bother them. Obviously, they were there to antagonize because the lady recording she already knows something is happening, right? She's already recording because she was there to antagonize as well. You could hear her screaming and yelling. So these people get in the way of ICE and then play the victim whenever something happens to them. Like I said, like the people at the meat plant. I almost wanted to look up that video of them throwing rocks at the ICE agents at the Oregon meat packaging plant or whatever, because that's a great example. Like somebody could have easily been shot in that scenario also, because they're literally assaulting ICE agents with rocks. They're fucking stoning them basically. And if an ICE agent had responded with force, they would have been like, oh, that's unjustified. Like they were only using rocks. Like how could you use such violent means against them? But it's like, bro, they have to assert their authority at some point. So if you don't want something to happen to you, just don't mess with them. Just let them do their thing. They're enforcing the law. You're just there bothering them and getting in the way of the law. So, you know, what right do you have to assault them?
Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety.
About what? The consequences of people trying to assault a federal agent?
In this city, what they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is cause...
Okay, well, you probably think there should be an open border. So, I mean, what the fuck would you define as safety in America? Like, you don't...
chaos and distrust. They're ripping
Chaos and distrust, maybe with illegal immigrants. Why would you be distrusting of ICE? You know, if you're a legal citizen, you don't care. You're not worried about ICE. You're like, ICE can stop me. It doesn't matter. You can check for whatever I have. You know, you can... Shit, they could come into my home. I'd rather they not, right? You could stop me on my way. It doesn't matter. It might be annoying, but how's that chaotic at all? They stop you. You got papers? Yes, I'm here legally. Okay, fine. You're on your merry way. Why the need to disrupt these? Oh, it's because there's illegals in your area, right?
Families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets, and in this case, quite literally killing people.
Right, because the civilians are getting in the way of investigations. Actually, the civilians are causing chaos, if anything. They're the ones. This is the result of a civilian interfering with a federal officer's investigation and getting killed because of it.
So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit.
And I hate his like fake outrage. That's so bullshit. I want ICE the fuck out of my city. It's so gay. Like, bro, stop being so. We know you're fake, bro. Like, you ain't gotta keep putting it on. You know what I mean? But you don't have to spin it. The guy's in front of the vehicle. The lady floors it. He's still in front of the vehicle when she hits the gas. That's a threat.
This was
also, look at the sign language interpreter. Like, isn't sign language nonverbal? Like, why are you mouthing? Why are you mouthing words?
Using power.
Just more cringe.
That resulted in somebody.
Why is everything liberals do cringe?
Getting killed.
Okay, I'm tired of hearing this. He doesn't say anything interesting anyway. Tim Walz also had something to say about deploying the National Guard.
Order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
Shit, sorry.
And prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners. They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Porter to prepare the Minnesota.
Now, I always wondered how when people said, "Oh, the U.S. is going into a civil war," like I was like, "That's such nonsense." Because in what scenario? Like, what are the logistics of a civil war currently in the United States? Like, it's not like the last civil war we had, the only civil war we had, or it's North versus South. You know, like there's different territories. There's different like the left wing states are mixed in with the right wing states. Like, there's no clear way where you would have a war. But this seems like a real way you could initiate a war is by having the National Guard going against federal agents and, you know, basically escalating it to war. It sounds like that's what he's, I didn't even read the tweet. Literal Civil War style rhetoric. Yeah, he's saying we're going to use violent force against federal agents in our state. Well, that sounds like you're trying to secede, you know, your state. You're not trying to be a part of the union. You're against what federal agents are there to do, which is investigate it. Find illegal aliens and deport them back to their country.
ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis.
This is the same statement. I think it's just a little bit longer. Let me see.
Condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We have been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety, that someone was going to get hurt. Just yesterday, I said
How are they a threat to someone's? Oh, because the civilians are interfering. That's why. It wouldn't have been a threat if nobody got in the way.
exactly that.
So it's not a threat, except people are attacking agents and assaulting agents because of rhetoric like Tim Walz.
What we're seeing is the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and I'm waiting to hear back. Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them.
You should be angry at the civilian for getting in the way and causing chaos in your state.
We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do.
Peacefully? Oh, you mean don't get in the way of federal agents and throw rocks at their cars and block off the road where they're driving? I would assume that's not considered peaceful, right?
We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side.
Now, obviously, he has to know that that's not going to happen. Obviously, there's not going to be peaceful protests. You know what I mean?
To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans,
Nah, I'm good,
our
bro.
administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety.
They're not there for you, bro. They're there for the country. They're there to remove illegal aliens and send them back to whatever country they're from so you can make more space for the Americans here legally.
I've issued a warning.
They're not there to cater to whatever needs you have.
To prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks.
Like, what does that mean, if necessary? Like, what are you waiting to happen? For the ICE agents to not leave your state, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's necessary to use violent force.
These National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community.
Just straight up insinuating you're going to attack federal agents is basically what's happening there. This is Kristi Noem's response to the whole thing. Let me get rid of these captions here.
It was an act of domestic terror. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Love her hat, by the way.
It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased. We're continuing to gather more information, but this goes to show the assaults that our ICE officers and our law enforcement are under every single day. These vehicle rammings are domestic acts of terrorism. We're working with the Department of Justice to prosecute them as such. We will continue to protect our ICE officers and in cooperation with other law enforcement agencies as well.
Now, I feel like leftists that are reacting to this are only seeing this event, and they're not seeing all the events that have happened in the past where ICE agents get assaulted. Now, let me look that up, because that would be more interesting than whatever I'm about to show you here. This is just the mainstream media covering it.
Too, that we will be hearing from Mayor Jacob Fry.
Spray deployed, saying she just got hit. Her and her yeah, I believe.
So this is the aftermath.
They were there on the ground. She says protesters wouldn't let ICE leave, throwing things at the agents. Chemical spray deployed, saying she just got hit. Her and a photographer saying, you know, this hurts bad, skin, eyes, lungs, and
yeah, I mean, so I think that was the chaos that ensued. Let me see what CNN has to say of all people. I don't remember this being that interesting anyway.
Tensions
Look,
erupted
here's an
in
example.
Omaha.
Look, leftists see the shooting, but they don't see all the issues that happen where it's ICE agents basically leave violent protesters unharmed. Now, here's an example in Omaha, Nebraska.
The demonstration drew dozens of activists, community members, and advocates who accused.
I'm going to mute this just so I can talk over it. And you can see they're interfering with their investigation, with what they're trying to do. Let me see if I can see where they're throwing rocks and stuff. Look, this guy. Oh, I don't know. I didn't see him throw something. Oh, look, here you go. You can see them throwing stuff. I mean, that's violent protest. And as soon as they stop to get out, they all run away. You know, nothing happens. Of course, none of these people get arrested. So this is what liberals don't see. They don't see all the scenarios where agents get attacked. They just see the one where a shooting happens in self-defense. And they get triggered and it makes the front page of the news. But look, they'll never see this. They're in their, like, what would a liberal say to this? Oh, they're in their right to do that. They're just protesting, bro. Tim Walz, is this peaceful protest? Is this what you're calling for in Minnesota against ICE agents? Or what? You're going to start a civil war against the federal agents in your state? So, I mean, that's all there is to this story. Whether it was self-defense or not, I mean, it seems like it was self-defense. He was in front of the car. She hit the gas. Like, what else is there to see? I am curious to know what happened before the lady started recording. Because, like I said, how did the lady driving end up here in the first place? Is this an ICE vehicle? I actually don't know. The one coming through, she's like letting people come through. She's like waving. It seems like she's waving them across, but they stopped to open the door. So I don't know exactly how she was interfering. I'd like to know more about that. But like I said, seems like self-defense to me. Seems like there's going to be more violent left-wing riots in Minnesota. Let me know what you guys think, if it was an act of self-defense, and how this is going to escalate, because I'm sure it will, and I'm sure it's going to be nasty. And like I said, it's going to be tough to be an ICE agent in this time, because this is going to give all the left-wing politicians, they're going to give people an excuse to be violent. They're going to say, I guarantee you one of these people are going to say, defend yourself by any means, do anything you need. They basically already do. They just use coded language. Now the mask is going to come off and they're going to say, defend yourself with violent means if you have to, anything you have to do to not get deported to your home country. So anyway, that's about it.